Some mysteries start with a crime scene, or maybe some deep, dark secret. But this case, which is honestly one of the most haunting in recent memory, it all starts with something so simple. A phone call on a dark country road. Just that one word, a single sharp cry. And that was it. That was the last sound anyone ever heard from 19-year-old Brandon Swanson. And the craziest part, he said it to his dad right over the phone, and then nothing. The line just went dead. So how does a totally normal call for help turn into complete and total silence? We've got to go back to the beginning of that night to figure this out. All right, so let's get into the final 47 minutes of the story, because that's really all it took. Brandon's entire disappearance, it all happens in the span of just under an hour. And that phone call, well, it's everything. It's the biggest clue we have, and it's also the biggest mystery. And the setup here is, well, it's tragically normal. Brandon was just a 19-year-old kid, a college freshman studying wind energy of all things. He's driving home from a party out in rural Minnesota, takes a turn on a gravel road, and boom, ends up in a ditch. Nothing too crazy. He wasn't hurt, he was calm, and he did what pretty much any of us would do in that situation. He called his parents for a ride. So for the next 47 minutes, Brandon stays on the line with his dad. He's walking through the pitch black night, heading toward what he thinks are the lights of a nearby town. The conversation was, totally normal, almost boring, really. Just a father and son talking. Until, all of a sudden, it wasn't normal at all. So now his parents are out there driving these dark country roads, honking the horn, flashing their lights, but they can't find him anywhere. And as the sun starts to come up, this horrible, chilling feeling must have set in. Brandon wasn't just lost somewhere out there. He had completely vanished. And this is where we see the first critical mistake of the night. You have to understand, out there in rural Minnesota, it gets profoundly dark. Brandon was completely turned around. Those lights he thought were a town, they were probably just a single farm. So every single step he took was actually leading him away from safety, deeper and deeper into isolated farmland. Okay, so the official search kicks off. Right away, they find his car, exactly where he said it would be. They bring in search dogs, and they immediately pick up his scent. They follow it for almost 2 miles, and this is through some really rough terrain. The trail leads them right to the edge of the Yellow Medicine River, and then it just stops, cold. There's no sign of a struggle, no footprints. He didn't drop anything. It's like he just ceased to exist right there on the riverbank. So you've got a scent trail that leads directly to a river and then disappears. Right away, the most logical and, frankly, the most tragic theory starts to form. And it all goes back to that final, sudden sound his dad heard on the phone. This theory, accidental drowning, it seemed to tick all the boxes, right? It neatly explains the 2 biggest puzzles here. Why did the call end so suddenly, and why did the scent trail just vanish at the edge of the river? It all seemed to fit. You can see how the narrative builds itself. That sharp cry, that's the moment he slipped and fell. The scent trail, that's the path he took to get there. And the trail ending abruptly, well, that must mean he went into the water. So on the surface, this looks like a pretty open and shut case, a tragic accident. But it's really far from it. Yeah, because for every question that the drowning theory seems to answer, it creates a bunch of new ones. And these are really persistent, nagging questions that have kept this case from ever being closed. I mean, think about it. That river has been searched over and over and over again. They've had experts analyze the currents. They've scoured the banks for miles downstream. And after all these years, they've found absolutely nothing. Not a single thing belonging to Brandon. No shoe, no wallet, not his phone, nothing. So the most obvious question is, if he fell in the river, where is his body? I mean, yeah, it's possible for a body to get lost in a river, for sure. But for it to never turn up, especially after years and years of extensive searching, that's really unusual. And it's not just the body, it's his stuff. Think about it. His phone, his keys, his wallet. Things like that often get knocked loose and carried downstream by the current. The fact that not one single item has ever been found, well, it really makes you question if he ever went into the water in the first place. What's truly haunting about this whole thing is how it happened. Most missing person cases, they start hours, sometimes days after someone was last seen. There's a gap in the timeline. But with Brandon, His disappearance was basically witnessed in real time by his own father who was listening on the phone. The timeline isn't a guess. It's incredibly precise. He was there 1 second, and then he was just gone. So in all the years since he vanished, with no new leads, no new evidence, the case is really defined not by what the investigators found. It's defined by what they didn't find, by what's completely missing.
First, there's no crime scene. Absolutely no signs of a struggle, nothing to even hint at foul play along that entire 2-mile path the dogs tracked. Nothing that suggests he ran into someone else out there.
And because of that, there's no suspect. There's just a total lack of evidence pointing to anyone else being involved. So there's never been a person of interest, never mind an actual suspect. And finally, there's no confirmed accident. That drowning theory, as compelling as it is still just that, a theory. Without a body, without any physical proof at all, we just can't say for sure what happened at the edge of that river. And in the end, that's why this story sticks with us. It's because there is no conclusion. It's just this terrifying reminder that a person can be right there, talking, safe, alive, connected to someone they love, and then, in an instant, they can just be lost to a silence that we may never, ever understand.